We are back with a saucy little intro there too, a little bit of music in the background. Oh, we're sounding a little bit too professional now. Maybe just slow this down.
That's special.
Yeah, not bad. Toe tunes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we're out here trying to be professional because in today's episode, we're going to be talking on the What's Next podcast about structuring your 2021 like a pro. So, trying to have a good structure in place to make sure that you make the most of 2020 and do some of the things that the bigger or successful structured businesses are doing.
Hey, look, and for those playing corporate bingo out there, perhaps another way of looking at it rather than structuring, a framework.
Framework, oh, good F word.
Yeah, drop in an F-bomb, framework. If you're playing corporate bingo, ding, ding, you can now mark that off your card. Hey, we've just got back from lunch too. So we recorded a reflection on the year that's been. There were a number of C-bombs in that pod. Good old feed down at HQ.
Great lunch there.
Yep, continuing the reflection, weren't we? So it was good, and now we're back giving you guys some pointers on getting ready to ram 2021 like a pro.
Yeah, there we go. So we want to make sure that you guys are doing the things that successful businesses are doing, and some of the bigger businesses with maybe more resources and things like that, so that you can start to get yourself into a nice structure to continue forward 2022, 23, 24. And of course, this is, as Phil says, the bingo word framework there, but you can make these things your own. But we'll give you some pillars that we see that work well, and often there's
Ring that bell. There's another one.
Pillars done.
Yeah, well done. Yeah,
so these are things that are something we've probably spoken about a number of times across different podcasts, but we're just going to wrap a few of them into one because we want to see you guys kick some ass in 2021, just as we will be as well. We will be getting that peach and kicking the emoji.
Oh, we will. And it's quite interesting when we were talking about this just off mic before hitting that wonderful record button. It was interesting writing down some of the stuff that we're talking about and how the stuff that affects a business that might be turning over 20, 50 or even $100 million plus, down to businesses that might only be turning over less than their first $1 million. It's all the same.
It is.
The framework is the same. So what big businesses do that we look after, the little dudes can do.
Yeah.
And the same that the little dudes do, the big dudes do. There's just a few more zeros behind some of those numbers.
That's right. I was going to say the old framework stays the same, but the zeros at the end of some of the numbers can often get a bit larger. But, things like margin and things always stay the same no matter what size your business is.
And in a bigger business, you're going to have, get ready for it, people, the L word, leverage. Leveraging off of a much wider team and a pool of expertise at hand that you might not necessarily have if you're running a small business, so you can delegate stuff and get stuff done at scale using more people. And that helps. So when you're down at the smaller ends, what you may ordinarily delegate across a team, across a management team, you end up taking on yourself, or you're having to outsource it and getting in professionals.
Well, I'll kick us off.
Here we go.
The age-old favourite, business planning. Now, we won't talk about it for too long because we've done pods on it. We've got so much information on it. Go to our website and nextAdvisory.nz and download our business planning template. You can use it. I would say instead of talking about business planning, go and listen to our podcast on that. But monthly, quarterly, annually, set yourself some things that you want to be doing in the next 12 months and look at how you're going to chunk those down. So come down to quarterly and then go right down to monthly. Now, my hack for you.
Oh, a hack.
Set a reminder. So I'm big on this. Do it now. Go into your calendar, set up a monthly reminder, and you're going to spend a half an hour at the end of each month reviewing your business back to the plan you set for yourself.
So folks listening to this, Luke has a reminder for 9:30 every night to
be grateful.
To be grateful.
Yeah.
Yep. And it happens every single night, and he still has an alarm for it. So if Luke's doing that every night, then it's not going to be that hard to do something every 2 months, every quarter, whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
But we beat this drum so much about business planning, and I think looking back at the year that we've just had and what business owners have been through, and if you've got through it without having a business plan and you've sat there and gone, by golly gee, I wish I'd thought about this or done that. If that's not the kick up the ass that you need, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be waiting until 2021. I would be using your downtime over the holiday break. Just take an hour here or an hour there. It doesn't need to be anything, and just start chipping away at it. While the mind's starting to relax and not, you're not stressed out and thinking about being at the coalface and solving problems and putting out fires and all that type of stuff with the day-to-day bits and pieces. But you're free, you're at the beach, you might even have a glass of something in your hand or two, and your mind's going to be a little bit more free and relaxed, and you can get into that blue sky thinking.
We recommend the Ciroc vodka for help with imagination and
creativity.
There it is. But even if you find structure hard in business planning, just step up to the plate with a pad and pen and write down some of the things you want to achieve from your
I'll just add in there, it's the large bottle of Ciroc vodka per session mixed with watermelon water.
And on that, watermelon's extremely hard to find this summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a shortage, isn't there?
Yeah.
Every time I go to the shops, I still look out for watermelon water, and I don't think we've had any correspondence from our audience to let us know where to get watermelon water from. So if you are tuning in and you have seen watermelon water on the shelf, could you please get in touch? LNP at nextAdvisory.nz, because we will buy a case.
I actually found a place where you could get a case, and I was like, yes, I'm going to order this and send it to your house. And then when I got to the end, it was like, this product is sold out. And it was from like May.
Oh,
so it was months old. But one of those, I'd buy a thing a day, one of those type sites had
like a grab one type deal.
Yeah, these trays of it. I'm like, I found it. Yeah, but no. Okay, well, that's exciting stuff, planning. We know how important it is. Set your reminders, and I'm going to go to my next one here, your P&L. I think this is just not reviewed by people, looking at their profit and loss and looking at their numbers and knowing them. And we spoke about this on a previous pod as well, of people going through business and not actually knowing if they're even making a profit or not. Like, it seems such a crazy thing.
Yeah, again, I'd be interested in listener feedback, but our thoughts would be that if you're a business owner and you're using MYOB or Xero or whatever other accounting software that you might use, you'll log in, you'll process your bank transactions, you might enter a few invoices and then pay them, and then that's it. And do your GST return. If you don't have an accountant or your in-house finance people, that's the extent to which the software is used. Because you've got let's face it, bigger problems to solve. You've got staff, Karen's causing you a few dramas down in the warehouse, and you got Jim bloody, giving you a bit of grief, and you're having to constantly put out fires, and you got customers, who always think that they're right, and you're having to put things right. So it doesn't let you take the time to go, let's look under the hood and assess how the business is actually going and how it's going compared to previous periods, how it's going compared to budget, and therefore give you a little bit of crystal ball gazing as to, what's going to happen in the future if I carry on trading like this? Or, if we keep on going on this trajectory, what's going to happen to my cash?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's, a lot of, I guess, our clients, I'll call them lucky, but the way that we do our tax, right, is that we're actually looking actively 3 times a year at a minimum, plus the end of the year.
Yep.
So we're tracking clients' profitability and having conversations around how they're going to manage their tax that is a result of that profit. So then we're educating them throughout the year, hey, this is why it's important to look at your tax, and some of them are moving their salaries that they pay themselves and things like that, so they actually start to get an understanding of what an increase or decrease in profit can lead to.
And let's face it, tax is boring as batshit.
Oh, it's bad.
But for us, we use it as an opportunity to, 1, engage with our clients, and 2, get an insight and an understanding about how the year's going and what the rest of the year's going to look like. So then we can go, right, well then, if you keep going like this, this is not going to be a good outcome. You need to address it. Or if you keep going like this, things are going really well, you're making a lot of money, your tax is going to be potentially this much. So you need to start and think about the cash flow impact and setting something aside around X. And that gets the client thinking, going, oh, wow, okay, yep, thanks. And then once they start and get into that mentality, then they've got a much deeper understanding about their own business.
So often in a business, you might be running multiple business units or divisions or have different products.
Retail outlets?
Yeah.
Multiple sites.
All of those types of things. And you need to have a finger on your pulse of which ones making you money and which isn't. So actually doing some analysis of the things that you're doing, because why continue on with things that are not making you money if there's no strategic thinking around it? Maybe it's a loss leader for a future branding play. Who knows? There are some times where you wouldn't just focus on making a profit, but often people just add more and more to their business when what they started with was quite profitable and they didn't squeeze that to the full extent to start with. So sometimes less is more in these situations. So that's why it's very important to know your numbers so that you can back that up with real data.
And this stuff that we talk about, it can be daunting for a business owner or a group of business owners or whoever's looking at it. The next step would be, if it is daunting, engage the right people and don't be afraid to ask the dumb questions. We get clients calling us up, and I've got a number of clients that they'll call up and go, Phil, I've got a dumb question. And I'll be like, you know what? I love dumb questions. They're my absolute favoritist questions.
Favoritist.
Yeah, favoritist. Is that not a word?
Oh, but it is now.
Yeah, great.
We make the rules and the dictionary.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Anyway, it's that whole thing that what is it? That adage, that word, that thing that they say about no question is a dumb question, or and it's right when it comes to what we're doing around providing advice to businesses, because if we're providing the right advice and they're understanding something, ultimately it's going to empower the business owner.
Yep.
And if it empowers the business owner because they understand it, then they're going to be able to make better decisions in the future around what they need to do in their business to make ultimately more money.
Love it. On that as well, ask yourself the question, what skill set is your business lacking? Everybody knows that they are missing something and that there's a gap in their business. And often we just hide from it and go, well, it's not at the pain point yet to get it addressed.
Yeah.
Make 2021 the year where you go, right, I'm missing an avenue of skill set. It might be around HR, it might be around sales, it might be around website design, it might be around content, social media, who knows? You probably already know what it is, and there's something comes straight to mind and you go, shit, there's a gap there for us. Make 2021 the year where you plug the gap by getting someone in, or even if it's a contract basis, or maybe it's just for a bit of advice or someone you go and speak to plug a gap for you.
Yep. That's bloody good advice, and I can immediately think of 3 clients off the top of my head that in the last 4 months have already done that.
Awesome.
Yep. They've gone out, they've recognised that their time is already stretched and they can't do everything, so they've gone out and hired and created new roles. So we're not replacing people, we're creating new roles because there's growth.
Wow.
And it's freeing up their time to then go, gee, I can go off and hunt and gather essentially and fill the pipeline.
Love it. Well, the next thing I had written down was pay for some time back.
Oh,
which is the same sort of thing, right? So,
yep.
Get in the habit of figuring out, right, can I trade, if you're doing well, even if you're not, are you unhappy with how something's going because you're doing it all the time? Can you trade a bit of money to bring some happiness back in the fact that you're not having to do things you don't want to do anymore, or that they're slowing you down from growing other areas of your business, but, getting in the habit of paying for your time back. And that might even be ordering Uber Eats instead of going out for lunch a couple of times a week where you've still got your time back, or it might be investigating what's chewing up time in your personal life that's pissing you off, ordering your groceries. Going to get them, order them online. Find a couple of things like that and get some time back so that you can invest that back into your business.
The other thing I would add, involve your team.
Oh, yes. That's a goodie.
They're the ones at the coalface at the end of the day, and this goes across the whole thing, right from the business planning piece to getting time back, all of that kind of stuff. Involve them. They're the ones that are doing some of the work that you don't even have to worry about. And they've got pain points in their job that they're going to face on a daily or whatever basis it is, that they're just probably going to suck it up because that's just the way it's done. But if you can encourage them to do some blue sky thinking and some problem solving and go, well, look, you design your role and how would you like to work and what are some of the issues that need to be solved, and give them a license to do it. And get them involved into that overall planning piece.
Yeah, love that. I've got written down here, communicate with your team plus external suppliers and stakeholders. And, I think those business owners that we've seen through 2020 that have communicated well internally and externally and just keep people up to date, winning.
Oh, blimmin' nugget of gold there. And I like the bit that you added in, communicate with your suppliers. And we have one client who manufactures a product that goes onto a bigger product, and that bigger product is manufactured by a other manufacturers. So they're just a cog in the wheel, right? And they wanted to understand the peaks and troughs of their workflow pipeline and what's going to drive it, and then that would help them plan their manufacturing capacity around raw materials and staff and all that kind of stuff. It had never been done before in this business. They went to the manufacturers that they're supplying stuff saying, hey, what's your outlook for the year? How many orders have you got confirmed in for your products? How much do we need to be planning for so that we can slot it into our system and then make sure that we're delivering on time to you so you can meet your time frame to your customers? And it worked an absolute treat.
Love it.
And their customer, who's making the much bigger product, was absolutely blown away. It's like Struth. A supplier's coming to us and actually involving us into their process to make sure that they're not going to let us down ultimately.
It's like as if
it seems so bloody simple,
yeah.
But it's just picking up the phone and having a yarn, or even better, going take a coffee and meet them.
Yeah, well, I was just cracking up because I'm sitting here going, the next thing I've got to cross off my list here is just being prepared, which is exactly what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And we see so many business owners who, if we ask them the question, what are you prepared for over the next 12 months? Hard question to answer because they haven't actually thought about it.
No.
So a good question to ask yourself is, what are you prepared for? What do you currently have your business prepared for? Now, you might just be preparing to have the same year as you did this year and just going week to week, month to month, and going, well, shit, I'm glad I got to the end of it. Other business owners are stacking a bit of cash to the side, going, right, I'm preparing for an opportunity. I'm preparing for a downturn. I'm preparing for another lockdown. I'm preparing to not have to feel like I did when we went into the first lockdown and I felt uncertain about it, those types of things. So you need to actively think about what it is that you're preparing for, and that's why it's important to have a plan.
Hey, I knew you'd link it back. I was waiting for the old P word to come up.
Another tick for plan. That's 15 times I've mentioned that now.
Well done.
Yeah. But, I think it's very powerful, right, is actually asking yourself, what are we currently preparing for?
The other thing that we wrote down that ties into planning and preparing is what we mentioned also before. No idea is a dumb idea. Think big and be prepared to think differently.
Yeah, love that. We just asked ourselves the same question at lunch, right? We said, what's something we can do for our clients next year that's completely different and no one would expect accountants to do it? And that's our challenge for us to think of what that thing is. So if you've got any ideas, let us know. But that might be around having a business counselling session. Who knows? It might just be something completely left field. It's like we're always trying to find ways that we can add value to clients and businesses' lives by doing something a little bit different.
Yep, we're open to it. Hell, this podcast.
Yeah.
Any other accountants doing podcasts?
That'd be boring.
Hey.
I wouldn't want to listen to them to find out, but...
Nah.
Well, I mean, I'd imagine over the next 12 months we'll see a few more doing them.
That is one prediction that we've got, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on that, I spoke about this last week at a thing that I spoke at is the whole... don't just look at what your competitors are doing and get the shiny object syndrome and go, well, if they're doing a podcast, I better too. The reason that we do a podcast is because this plays into our overall strategy around giving value. And it is effectively like another type of funnel for us as such, but we also really enjoy doing it. And content marketing has always been a way that we've wanted to attract the right types of business owners. We say no to so much work because we're not building a let's get every client we can business. It's not what we wanted to do. It's not what we set out to do.
We're not building a get-rich-quick scheme, are we?
Agreed, firm. But anyway, that's what some people want to do. And so they'll probably see us doing a podcast and go, well, if they've done 50 episodes, we probably should be doing one. And then realise like, oh, we've only actually picked up, one client from it or something. Maybe this is a waste of our time. So before you jump into doing what your competitors are doing or the latest thing that should be done, map it back to your plan. But is it actually part of your strategy, or is it just a distraction? So always think about what works well for you. Can you do more of that to squeeze it first? And then what else do you need to add in? So a podcast plays like a 20, 80-20, sitting in the 20% play, right? It shouldn't be what you do every single day thinking it's going to be, the savior of your business when you've actually got other things that you already know proven to do well for you.
God, you're a smart man, eh?
I'm out here trying, mate. I'm trying to finish 2020 strong for the people.
Hey, the other one on the list there that feeds nicely off the back of the plan is cash flow. Ring
planning.
that bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Cash flow planning. And I wonder if it's because we're just geeky accountants and that's what it's easy for us to figure out how to do cash flow plans. But a lot of people still don't seem to do it and don't do it regularly. But I think it's something.
I wonder if it's because they don't know, one, how, and then because they don't know how, they don't get started, and then secondly, don't see the value of it. So I met with a client a couple of weeks ago, and they were already getting for 2021. Big year, huge year. New products, expansion overseas, new staff already, and part of it revolved the discussion that I had with them around cash and potentially taking some out of the business. And I said to them, well, is there any value in doing a cash flow forecast? Yeah, it's some crystal ball gazing around what's going to happen profitability-wise and that type of stuff. But if you're wanting to take cash out and that cash withdrawal needs to meet with other deadlines that are going on in your life, then you're going to want to know when that's happened. And if we've got to factor in payments of tax and increased wage bills because there's new staff and premises move because there's leases gone up and all this other stuff, your cash position's going to change. Wouldn't that be helpful to start with your planning and visibility? And they're like, yeah, well, hell yeah. So boom.
They're doing it.
They're doing it.
Wicked.
But it doesn't, that's quite a sophisticated level of cash flow planning because it's over 12 months. You can do it yourself and you can keep it simple. And we've got a model. It's on our website, I believe. Yep. If it's not on our website, get in touch with us. We'll give it to you.
Yeah.
There's instructions on how to use it. We'll just give it to anyone that asks. There's videos online on how to use it. I think we did one on Facebook, didn't we?
Yeah, we got a demo. Yeah.
Please, I encourage you, plan cash flow. If you're thinking about investing in new capital and you're taking on new debt and there's loan repayments, you need to understand the cash flow impact of that.
I'll give you a real life example for me where how I kept it really simple is that for my side hustle with the racing stuff, we started doing some content and basically we've committed to doing that through to March, and we got some sponsors for the first half, and those sponsors have sort of said, oh, we're not going to renew it. And so I run a quick cash flow model to show the lad that's helping me with it, hey mate, by the time we get to end of March here, we're 20k in a hole. And he's like, oh, I don't want you to lose 20k. And I'm like, I don't really want to lose 20k either. So I'm like, before March gets here, we need to figure out how to find 20 grand worth of revenue. And so for the next 4 weeks, we went and found 20 grand worth of revenue, and we can get it to a break-even point by the end of March. And so I've shown him, well, that's why we went and did that, is because we knew we were going to either be losing 20 grand or trying to break even. So a quick P&L, profit and loss of like, this is our incoming, this is our outgoings. Yeah. But that only gets you to today. And then, well, what does to the end of March look like? So with a very simple in and out, we can see this is the solution we need. We need to go find 20 grand.
Modern day Messiah. Just a modern day Messiah. Just the saviour.
Yeah, well, no, I tell you, the people that committed to the 20 grand are the saviour for me. But, it gave us that visibility of, this is what we need to go and solve. And so it gives you a working point.
I mean, if you weren't such a smart dude and you'd just boxed on, you would have got to March, and what would have been the reaction?
Oh, shit, where's the money gone?
Yeah.
Why have I got 20 grand less than I thought I might? Well, I probably wouldn't have known what I'd have. Yeah. Or I would have, we wouldn't have taken any action or that level of action to solve the problem.
Was that an entry in your Grateful Journal, just to go, hey, I am a really smart dude?
I guess I'd probably take it for granted because I see that's part of the role as an accountant, right? But I can see why business owners, because often we hear business owners talk about their only metric that they measure is the amount of money in the bank account. Yeah,
and it's interesting that it's only as at today.
Yeah.
Because they'll log into their internet banking and go, I've got lots of cash, so I must be doing all right.
Yeah. So, I think it's something that people need to go, right, I need to understand this. Because everyone all of a sudden wanted to during COVID when they were going, when's my money going to run out?
Hey, if you haven't listened to it, or if you have listened to it and haven't done anything about it, when the shit hits the fan, pod, and all the content we've done around that with cash, the amount of people that I've seen in recent times set up separate bank accounts and are funneling cash into it and can now pay their tax on time, whether it's GST, Prov tax, and know that the cash that's left over in their working capital account, huge.
Yeah.
Heaps of people are doing it.
So much easier for the brain to understand and for a business owner to have confidence, right? Oh, shit.
When talking to clients around Prov tax for the instalment due in January, I spoke to a number of clients that are having really good years and they've got separate savings accounts with cash stacked in it, and we talked them through it, and on one of them they've got exactly the right amount of cash sitting in there for tax, so it's no stress. The other one, they've got a lump of cash sitting in there and potentially it's too much.
Yeah.
But we're waiting for the rest of the year to unfold. For them, that just gives them a bit of headroom and some protection to go, actually, we don't need to stress about cash for tax because we've already got plenty of dough sitting there.
Yeah,
and then by the time we get through to March, if we've overestimated how much tax they've got some savings.
Yeah. They can put it back into their working capital account, or they can invest it in something. Who knows? They get to choose, right? They might want to take it as drawings or a salary. But nothing worse than that conversation with a client of, have you planned for this tax? No. And their question is, well, how am I going to pay this? That's not a question for your accountant. That's a question for yourself. Powerful. It's December. Making December my bitch out here. That's good. Oh. Right, sorry, mate. I got a bit fired up with myself there.
But it is a tough time of year. Let's not forget Prov Tax, GST, PAYE in January, and your PAYE may be a bit higher because you're paying a whole heap of holiday pay for December.
And even that time and a half, I feel for the people in hospo, opening up on those. We talked to one last week who said, no surcharge, but, by the time they're...
Time and a half day in lieu.
Yeah, 2.5 your labour costs. So that people can come to your pub and get on the beers. On their Boxing Day.
Just as well, there's plenty of margin in the booze, eh?
Yeah, there's a little bit, all right, well, one of the other random ones that's probably unique for this next year is this, well, actually through to March 17th, this low asset threshold.
Fuck, you're a nerd.
Which you
March
can
17th.
March the 17th.
You know the exact date.
I do, because I spoke about it in a speech the other day, and I put March the 7th in my slides by mistake and missed out the one. And
it wouldn't have been a mistake. You were just watching to see if people were paying attention.
As I was reading through it live, I'm like, that's a typo. Anyone listening, it's the 17th. But we've done a podcast on that, so go and listen to it and go and take advantage of it, especially someone like that client who's got the headroom, right, of a bit of extra cash sitting there. They might go and bring their profit down by taking advantage of the low value asset threshold being $5,000, where they can buy some equipment that they're going to need, because if you listen to these podcasts, that we're not advocates of spending money to save tax when you don't need the shit that you're paying for. So don't just spend $1 to save 33 cents in tax.
But if you want to, we'll just increase your accounting fees. That solves that problem.
Send us an email and we can bump your fees up, or we can move you from your current accountant. But so we've done cash flow planning as well. One of the other things I've got here, mate, is being agile, and I think we've seen that.
Ding, 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 ding. Hang on, surely we must be at bingo by now.
That could be the card.
Hey,
and that, ladies and gentlemen,
we have a winner.
We will wrap this up. Yeah, we're done here. No, we're not done yet. Being agile, so obviously it's been something that's been very, very important, and I think that this is going to continue to be something that people that are more successful than others are going to display, is the ability to be a bit more agile and move quickly, as our environment potentially does that same thing to us.
Well done.
Have we missed anything?
No, I think you've covered. Great list. We've covered it in depth. Agile's just, it's up there with pivot for me.
Oh, you don't like that one, eh?
Oh,
what about, I guess, your favourite one, and this is always important to do every year, is don't be a dick.
Oh, structuring 2021 like a pro. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. How important is that?
Yeah, that should be on everyone's business plan.
Yeah. And, a lot of these bigger businesses, mate, they'll have monthly board meetings as such, and that sounds quite serious, the old having a board meeting, but there's a lot of structure around those, and they'll cover a number of the things that we've just spoken about today, including making sure that every avenue of the business is performing well, and that you're looking at the financial outcomes of those months, what we're going to look forward to next year, next month, what we're actually working towards, what gaps we've got in the business, all these types of things that we've just been speaking about. People are doing this, and they're doing it every month in some instances. So if you think, this is too much work, and you don't even want to do it once a year, maybe just give yourself a quick little pep talk in the mirror and find out from yourself what sort of business owner you want to be.
Oh, that's challenging.
It is.
But there's value in it, because we sit in on a number of those with our clients. There's regular 2 monthly or 3 monthly, they might not necessarily have gone through our structured business planning process that we do with some clients, and they've developed their own business plan, or they've had some other assistance with the business plan, but we're there as the accounting, tax / business advisor to sit on the, the monthly meetings to provide a different perspective and a different viewpoint. And they've got their key staff around the table, and we're all looking at the same stuff. Are we all on the right page? Are we going in the right direction? What do the numbers mean? What do we need to change? What do we need to do for the next 2 months or 3 months? And I tell you, it pays dividends because it keeps everyone focused.
Focused. Love it. Well, remember, team, that you don't have to do it all your own as well. And that is the importance of having other people and smart people around you.
Yeah, get a couple of hot guys on board. LMP at nextAdvisory.nz. We would love to have a chat.
We'll come and structure up your 2021 like a pro. That has been exceptional, mate. I think there's some absolute value in there to finish out the year. If you'd like to level up your accounting and advisory in 2021, we would love to have you a part of our network, especially if you've got a good attitude and an aspirational business owner. You know how to get in touch with us. How is it, Phil?
LMP at nextadvisory.nz or www.nextadvisory.nz. You can book straight online into our calendars. Our mobile phone numbers are on there. Call us, text us, WhatsApp us, whatever, get in touch.
Kick some ass in 2021 and never be too proud to put your hand up and ask for a bit of a hand.
Go out there and enjoy those holidays, folks.